Hey, welcome everybody to this exciting section of the U.S. Boat Expo. We're here with Nate Boudreaux. He's the executive director of the USA Waterski and Water Sports team. I'm super excited to have you here, Nate. Thanks for joining us. I know you're real busy. Tell everybody a little bit about your organization and the different parts of it that are involved in the water sports area.
Sure. Thanks for having me, first of all. USA Waterski and Wake Sports, we're the national governing body for all of towed water sports. We're recognized by the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee as that U.S. representative in water sports. So basically, in layman's terms, what that means is any sort of international competitions that are going on in water sports around the world, whether it be water skiing, whether it be wakeboarding, we are the designated representative to provide athletes to compete in those competitions. So if you look at it from like the Olympic realm, we are not an Olympic sport, which makes it even more confusing. Although we're recognized by the Olympic Committee, we are a Pan-American sport. So every 4 years, there's a Pan-American Games, which takes place amongst the Pan-American countries. And we send representatives to those games to represent us in water skiing and wake sports. So it's you get the feel of the Olympics. I know the athletes that have participated and represented us in those games have come back with amazing stories about their experiences. You know, they're walking side by side in the opening ceremonies with the gymnasts and the track and field folks. So it gives them a real sense of American pride. And we're hopeful to someday get some sort of water sport, whether it be water skiing, wakeboarding, cable wakeboarding, into the Olympics. It's been on the docket as a potential the last couple of go-rounds. It's just we haven't had a chance to make it happen. But as an organization, what we're really focused on is growing the sport at the grassroots level as well. So they are, there are a handful of those athletes that are good enough to compete at that highest level. They're sort of the top of the pyramid per se. And then if you go down to the bottom, that's where all the recreational skiers are. And there's a lot of people in between. So what we try to do is we try to provide an avenue for those recreational skiers, the somewhat competitive skiers, to participate in our sport. And we're an overarching organization. So we have 9 different sport disciplines that fall under sort of our oversight. And each one of those 9 disciplines has their own organization makeup as well. So there's what's called the American Waterski Association, which is our largest. That is 3-event water skiing. So if you're familiar, if you've ever seen slalom skiing, around the buoys, trick skiing and jumping, that is what's called the 3-event. And those are the American Waterski Association. And the second largest is show skiing. It's really big in the Midwest and down in Florida as well. And that's where it's like a performance based around skiing. So you have the pyramids, you've got jumpers, barefooters, like all these different types of water skiing incorporated into a show. And like I said, it's really big in the Midwest, and especially in the summertime, they put on shows and performances for their local communities. And they also have a competitive aspect of that. So those teams will compete against each other, the show ski teams, in a competition as well. And then we have 7 other disciplines ranging from adaptive, collegiate, barefoot, kneeboarding, hydrofoiling, wakeboarding is one of them as well. So basically anything you see on the water being pulled behind a boat usually falls within our universe somewhere.
Yeah, the events are incredible. We're fortunate to have a show ski team that practices on a lake that's 30 minutes from us, and the lake that we boat on. And they practice Friday afternoons, and it's open for everybody. It's awesome to see 3-year-old up to 50-year-old people involved in that. And I've been to a few of your events as well. The U.S. Open 20 years ago, seeing the 3-sport athletes. I mean, you haven't seen anything until you see somebody run 200 yards off a ramp, or 200 feet off a ramp, and doing the trick skis. And it's a great event. So do you have a list of where people can go and find a local event in their area if they may be interested in just checking it out as a spectator?
Yeah, so the best place to start would be the USA Waterski and Wake Sports website. It's just usawaterski.org. And then from there, like I said, we have 9 different disciplines. So each of the 9 disciplines has an area on our website which has information about their particular sport. And then within that area, there's a list of events If we were to list every single event, it would just be one huge gigantic list. But you're right. You talked about the show ski element being sort of a family sport, and that's what we do pride ourselves on being. We are a true family sport. Everyone from the great grandchildren all the way to grandma and grandpa and everybody in between can essentially participate. And you don't have to be an elite athlete either. I mean, a lot of our tournaments, some of those, if you go to a 3-event tournament, it may look a little scary, like you said, seeing somebody jump off of a ramp or going over these buoys, but we have different levels. So it's almost like one of the things we're working on, without getting into the weeds here, is working on almost like a handicap component, similar to golf. When you start to play golf, it's not like you're expected to go against a 1 handicap person if you're like a 20 handicap like me, but the handicap sort of makes it all even. That's kind of what we're trying to do with water skiing a little bit, is to make sure that people feel comfortable competing in the events without being overwhelmed, because it is a really tough sport to get into and it's really hard to master. It's not like, one of the barriers that we face is just access. And I can't just show up to some random lake with a pair of skis, like ready to go. Like, you need to have, a lake, a boat, the equipment. It is a lot of things to do. Unlike, basketball or soccer, where you can just show up at the local park and play a pickup basketball.
Yeah, there's no pickup water skiing anywhere that although I did have, when I was a kid, there was a guy that just showed up with skis at the lake and said, "Hey, can somebody pull me?" And we pulled him around the lake a couple times. And not the best approach if you want to get really good. So Nate, you're involved in a bunch of different sports. Talk a little bit about the types of boats that are best and kind of what to look for when you're looking at the different sports and the different type of boats that may be the best fit. Because as a water skier, you're probably looking for something different than as a wakeboarder, for sure. I mean, two opposite extremes.
Yeah, no doubt. And, my background is not in the water sports industry. And this was one of the first things I learned pretty quickly is a boat is not a boat. There are different types of boats for sure. And you just touched on it. The two major extremes are the water ski boat and then the wake boat. Water ski, you want clear glass water. You don't want a lot of ripples and wakes, because they're going across those buoys and they're doing tricks and they're doing jumps. So they want it to be, flat water, no hindrance at all. Whereas wake boats, you want to create as much wake as possible so you can jump over, do all their tricks and things like that. So, all the manufacturers do make different types of boats. Obviously, there are water ski specific boats. And the manufacturers have really honed in on those and made them, to the point where they're awesome. They get better every year. And then same thing on the wake side. They're building these wakeboard boats now that create these wakes, not only for wake boarding, but also wake surfing, which is a huge recreational activity as well. So, without getting into the nuts and bolts of every single type of boat, I would definitely recommend that, depending on what you're looking to do. And even if you wanted to get a water ski boat, you could still pull a tube behind it and other things like that. It doesn't necessarily mean you can only water ski behind that boat, or same thing with wakeboard. If you get a wakeboard boat, it may create a bigger wake, but you can still water ski behind it. You may not be competing at the national level by doing it that way, but you can still recreationally do it. And we just want to get people on the water. Quite frankly, we want them getting pulled behind whatever boat you can get. It doesn't really matter. We want more people experiencing the sport. But yeah, if you have a competitive edge and you want to be go right into wakes or water skiing or wakeboarding, you may want to find a boat that sort of fits your fancy a little bit more. But like I said, you can do all those activities behind any boat, really.
Yeah, and we'll get into in another section of the expo, we get into choosing the right boat. And I think what I wanted to talk to you most about was just sort of getting people more into water sports and maybe even leveling up. I mean, I skied and barefooted as a kid, not at the competitive level. I've never run a course. It was always something that I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get started. I didn't know where to find a course. What am I going to do joining a tournament when I'm skiing behind a, 18-foot stern drive, not a MasterCraft or anything. So let's start with, as parents teaching their kids how to ski, what resources do you have to help them along driving the boat, teaching the kids if the parent's not a water sports expert? Anything that you guys have on your website or resources that would be valuable for them?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier. It is a difficult sport just to knock down all these barriers just to get in to participate. A lot of our members actually come up through their family. Their parents have skied, and their grandparents have skied, and they kind of got brought along with them. So that's kind of where we get the majority of folks learning to ski. So one of our challenges is to grow our membership outside of that. We're trying to get more people who have an interest but don't have a mom or a dad or a grandma or grandpa or aunt or uncle who ski. They just want to do it themselves. So we created a program last summer. Of course, with COVID, it wasn't the greatest time to launch it, but we still had some decent participation. It's called Get on the Water Week, and it's a week long. This week it'll actually be 10 days long in the summertime. From the end of June through the 4th of July weekend, where we have, it was represented in 13 states last year. We had 30 or so different water ski clubs host what's called Learn to Ski events, to where it's open and free to the public. You come out to the ski club in your community and you learn to ski. So that was, we had introduced 300 new people to the sport last year doing that.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll do it again. There is a website for that. It's called sharelifeonthewater.com. And there's an area for Get on the Water Week. And you'll start to see, if you follow us on any of the social media channels, we'll begin to promote that throughout the summer. So it's a great opportunity for folks that are interested to see if there's a ski club in their community that's hosting one of these events. So that'd probably be the first thing to do. And then secondly, like I said, it is such a hard sport to learn on your own. If you have the means, a lot of these local ski clubs do host, outside of that Get on the Water Week, they do host their own Learn to Ski and basic skills clinics. And then if you're a little more intermediate and you wanted to learn, the slalom course and things like that, there's a number of ski schools out there that are partners of ours as well, that teach people how to ski at a little more competitive level. But for that recreational skier or someone looking to get out there for the first time, a basic skills clinic or something around Get on the Water Week, I think would be a great first step. And I actually, like I said, I didn't grow up in the sport, and I may have water skied or gotten pulled behind a tube when I was a kid years and years and years ago. And I actually went out to one of our events last year and participated and kind of learned to ski. I got up on the skis, and it's a great feeling once you can actually master it.
It is. There's nothing better. I've taught a lot of people how to ski. And my oldest is getting there. My youngest, who's 7, is still, we haven't got her all the way up yet, but there's nothing better than that feeling, getting a kid up. Just last summer, I got a 22-year-old, my cousin's nephew, got a 22-year-old kid up on skis, and he was so excited. He was an athlete, big and buff, and he played football in high school, and it blew his mind that he was skiing. It was great to see it. A 7-year-old, a 22-year-old. It's just cool to get them up for the first time. And it's something they'll do for the rest of their lives. They'll be able to do it once you learn. You can get up 5 years later and pop right up.
Oh yeah, it's like riding a bike. Once you can figure out the basic skills on how to get up, then you're good to go. And then it gives you a great appreciation when you see some of these competitive skiers, flying around the slalom course and things like that, and doing wakeboarding, especially. I do wakeboarding as well. And, I was proud of myself for just going over the wake one time. Then I go out to a tournament and see these guys doing 360s and 720s and all this crazy stuff and flips. And, it's amazing. It gives you a great appreciation for the athletes we have in the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said earlier, definitely if there's an event in your area, go check it out. You may get exposed to something that you didn't even realize you could do. And if you're a little bit more adventurous, my barefooting adventure was about as crazy as I get. But doing flips and things like that are a little outside my comfort zone. But go check it out. It's really incredible. So
yeah,
anything. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you mentioned barefooting, and that is one that, it's a different breed, I guess, that do the barefooting. I'm like, there's a perfectly good ski. Like, why aren't you using the ski? You want to do it on your bare feet. But Yeah, it's interesting to see that too. And it's amazing how they can just glide right across the water. I mean, it's
Yeah, my brother and I learned the dumbest ways possible. Nope, we didn't know anybody that could do it. We just decided at 18 years old, we're dumb enough then already. But stepping off a ski, trying to deep water start behind the stern drive, which didn't work so well. And we finally figured out a way to start off a knee board, sitting on the knee board, and then just slowly let yourself up and let the knee board slide out. But it was an awesome feeling as we did it. So let's talk a little bit about resources for parents. I think one of the most difficult things is teaching my own kids versus teaching somebody else, that parent-kid relationship, and then driving the boat. You can't just put the hammer down. It's going to pull it right out of the little kid's hands. Do you guys have any resources, any videos or tutorials that would be helpful for a parent on safety, on how to get started, on how to communicate with the kids?
Well, from the learning to ski element, we're working on creating a larger video library that we're going to host on our website. Now, there are some videos up there really for more of the folks that are looking to get a little bit more intermediate type of stuff. So we did notice a need for what you just talked about, some basic stuff. There are some articles on our website as well that have some basic, learn to ski types of articles, but we're really working to grow that content library for sure. But there are some stuff on the website. Again, it's usawaterski.org. You mentioned the boat drivers and things like that. That's another huge element of what we do. We have a program where we have a trained driver program. So we send folks through our program. You become a trained driver. You get certified to drive boats in our sanctioned events. So all the events that we do sanction. So we are the national governing body. And when I say sanction, basically what we're saying is we're providing the insurance coverage for that particular organizing committee hosting that event. But in order to get that coverage, you have to check so many boxes. You got to make sure that all the folks are participating are members of ours. All the drivers are certified drivers. You have to have a certified safety person on site. So there are precautions in place and criteria there to ensure that the events are safe, especially the sanctioned ones. So even the basic skills clinics that you would go to that are sanctioned by us, the person that are instructing you, the drivers that are driving the boats, they've all been certified, background checked by our organization. So the parent can feel good and safe and know that they're dropping little Johnny off here all day to go ski. Does this guy know what he's doing, or girl? Does the boat driver have a clue? So all that's those safety precautions and measures are in place for all of our sanctioned events. So we do, take pride in the fact that we try to create the safest environment possible.
Yeah, that's great. That's so important. Now, let's say there is somebody, little Johnny says, man, I really like this. I want to get more into that show skiing event that we watched was pretty cool. I want to be the top guy in the pyramid, or man, running that slalom course. I mean, that looked awesome. Or did you see that guy do the flip on the wakeboard or the surfboard? Now they're flipping. It's crazy. How can they kind of ratchet up and say, all right, well, let me go from I'm doing it and doing some tricks behind mom and dad's boat to I want to maybe compete. I want to try an event. Where do they go and how do they even get started with taking it up that level?
Yeah, so we are an individual sport for the most part, except for show skiing, which is a team sport. So most lakes have a ski club. So the first step would be to sort of join that ski club. So they're the ones that basically dictate what goes on on those lakes. They'll host tournaments and events and things like that. So step one would be, join the ski club in your local area or ski team. In some cases, the ski club is the ski team when it comes to show skiing. And then you sort of work your way up that way. Each of our states has local and state and regional, and then there's a national tournament for all the different sport disciplines. So it starts at the very grassroots level and kind of goes all the way up. But you mentioned show skiing. That's an easy way to, you can literally join the show ski team after one day. The clinic that I went to, the Learn to Ski clinic, was put on by a show ski club down in Central Florida. And they basically recruited two kids from that event to join their team. And then 2 weeks later, they were in the show. You don't have to do it. You can still be in the show without having to do, a jump off the ramp or getting on the top of the pyramid. You can just ski around the boat with 3 or 4 other people and wave to the crowd. That's kind of, they were part of the show. So, they're always constantly looking for new folks. We'd love to have new members join and experience what we experience. So, depending on what you want to do, if you want to just start out and be part of the show ski team and do that, that's great. And then if you have aspirations for trying the slalom course or tricks, you can do that as well.
Yeah, almost just getting your foot in the door and starting. The first thing is, get on the social media for your organization, the USA Waterski. That's going to get you in the world. And then you're going to start seeing the water ski association, the wakeboard association, the surfing association, the show ski team. I mean, one of the coolest things that we see at the Carolina show ski team is the one by us. And there's guys jumping. They've got a ramp there. They're doing their tricks. The wakeboard guys are going. And the coolest thing is a little 3-year-old is on just a set of skis and skis by. And you're like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing. And I know that they'll teach somebody. I know kids on the team that went from not being skiers when they met the team to training them how to ski to being some of their best skiers, because they're practicing and they're out there all the time. And it's just a cool little environment, a cool little social organization too, for kids and teenagers and adults, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's funny you mentioned the 3-year-old. So I was at a show ski event last year, and one of the main sort of jumpers they had was really good. And I was talking to him afterwards, and he said, "Yeah, I've only been skiing for a little over a year." I'm like, wow, like how did that happen? He went from just learning to ski to being a jumper in a year. So you can, if you practice and you're interested and you're into it, you can move pretty quickly. It is difficult it looks scary to start, but once you kind of start getting some of the basic fundamentals down, it is. And
you're surrounded by experts on every discipline in that environment. Another kid I know, he started competitively wakeboarding at 9. And here in the Carolinas, and now is one of the top kids in his age bracket across the country. So I met him through a dealership that I know locally. There's a lot of opportunities, and I think the best thing is just get into the world, whether you know how to ski or not, whether you're intermediate or a beginner, just get into that social media world of it and start bouncing around. And I think you're going to find exactly the sport that you're looking for, and the events and the details.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That is a great recommendation for sure. I would recommend anybody interested in any kind of water sport, definitely follow us on any of the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be, because we're always posting stuff on there. And then we actually have a free level membership that we're offering now. So you can actually find it. If you follow us on Facebook, we post things about it periodically. So you'll get our newsletter, you'll get a digital copy of our magazine that comes out quarterly. So you can definitely be involved and understand and see what's going on in the sport. So I'd encourage folks to do that as well. It just keeps you in the know, like you said. And then if you want to take it the next step further, you'll have all those resources right there at your fingertips.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out. I didn't realize that you did that. So I will, is there a website for it? I'll put that in the description.
Yeah, you can find a lot of this stuff on sharelifeonthewater.com. That's sort of our marketing site that has a lot of information about, like I said, the Get on the Water Week information, as well as the free digital memberships. And then you can always go to usawaterski.org as well. That's a little bit more challenging to get around because, again, it's 9 different disciplines on there. So sometimes you got to click around a couple of times to get what you want. But if you're looking for basic stuff, sharelifeonthewater.com would be a good
place. That's perfect. That's perfect. I'll go there as soon as we hang up. So you mentioned that you're working on additional resources, which I think is a huge need in the industry. I'm glad that you guys are taking on that challenge, because I think that's going to help people get more involved and get started easier than getting drugged through the water the first couple of times. If no party knows what's going on, it's even my 7-year-old, she was 4 at the time. I put her on a wakeboard and I forgot to tell her to let go of the rope. So I drugged my little girl underwater, but luckily she's tough and she said, "Let's go again." So there's a lot to it, but it's so amazing when you get started. And it's such a connection between parent and kid, and such a great way to spend time together, being active, being out in nature. and just making those memories. There's not much better in my mind. So what else haven't we talked about that people that are new to boating, maybe thinking about their first boat and like, man, this opened a whole new world to me. I didn't realize there was competitive water sports. I didn't realize how to get started. Anything else that we didn't talk about that we should have, Nate?
I mean, we touched on a lot of different things, and I, again, appreciate you having me on to sort of spread the gospel here of towed water sports. I would just recommend that if folks have further questions, a lot of the dealers out there are pretty well versed in in the types of boats and in the different types of water sports. We have 3 of the major boat manufacturers that are partners of ours. So I'll give them a little plug here if I could. It's Malibu, MasterCraft, and Nautique are 3 boat companies. They provide boats for all of our competitive competitions. But yeah, all those dealers are very well versed in the types of water sports that are out there. And, if you have questions about specific things, they may not be able to answer it, but they can help point you in the right direction. Again, you can always go to our website to find information, but those dealers that's what they're there for. So use those resources. You can definitely go online and kind of look around and poke around, but the best thing to do is just, go to that dealer, get in the boat in the showroom, ask about all the features, tell them what you're looking to do with it, and they can definitely help you out.
And a lot of the dealers will do a surf night or a teach you the ski night as well. So that's another local resource. And it's also one of the things that I recommend to people, especially if they're looking new, is find the dealer that you click with the best, that's going to support you the best, because that's going to help make your boating lifestyle that much more enjoyable. And that's a great way to start, is go visit all the water sports dealers in the area and go to a couple of their events, and you'll find the one that has the right style boat and that you just build a great relationship with, because it'll be valuable for years and years and years, decades even of your boating lifestyle. So Nate, thank you so much for joining us. What is it? Share life on the water.com.
Yeah, it's a good resource. And then again, usawaterski.org is basic information about our organization. But again, for that sort of recreational skier or someone looking to learn for the first time, our little sister website, sharelifeonthewater.com, has got some great resources there.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. No problem. Thanks for having me.